wellness revolution starts now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze. Welcome to today's program. I'm pleased to introduce to you a longtime guest of the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, Wende Lawson. She's joining us today, and she's got a wonderful story about how she took charge of her health 10 years ago. This goes back to 2013. She took charge of her health, came into the Health and Wellness Center, and the changes that made in her life. So, Wende, welcome to the program today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, so tell us about yourself. Wende, where did you grow up?
So I actually grew up in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon and moved to Texas in 1995 to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I'm currently living in Cypress, Texas in the Houston area since 2002. I have one daughter. She's 23 and attending the University of North Texas.
Well, that's great. I know you're proud of her for that. You get a chance.
Absolutely.
I know you're up today. You're up in the Dallas area on business. Have you had a chance you get a chance to see her?
Absolutely. That's where I'm staying. Yes.
That's great. I know moms and their daughters have a special relationship. I've got 5 daughters, and they love their mama. Oh boy.
That's right.
Well, so 10 years ago, what was going on in your life, in your health situation, that made you decide to come into the Hotze Health and Wellness Center?
Yeah, so 10 years ago, I was actually starting to gain weight and creep up on me. I couldn't lose it no matter what. I was tired all the time. Excuse me, my hair was thinning. And so I came into the Hotze Health and Wellness Center in December of 2013. I was sick a lot. I had flus a lot. And I came in there and got the complete makeover and adjusted my hormones, put me on the vitamin program, put me on the yeast-free eating plan. And I've never looked back since. And to be honest with you, I have not been sick since I've been on this program since 2013.
Well, that's a quick recap. Let's break it down a little bit. What kind of symptoms were you having that made you decide to come in?
Mainly the weight gain was starting and the fatigue. That's what started to make me come in.
So had you seen any other physicians about these two problems?
I had, yes. And I was working out regularly for an hour a day for 5 days a week. And I was continuing to gain weight. Nothing was coming off. I did see an endocrinologist who put me on Thyroid, and I actually gained an additional 25 pounds on the Thyroid.
And when you discussed that with your endocrinologist, the fact that you were gaining weight on synthetic thyroid, Thyroid, which is synthetic thyroid, what did he say?
Well, she actually told me that it has to be my diet. I'm not exercising enough. And, we went over what I was eating, and then she just said that I would have to cut my portions, which left me just hungry and in a bad mood all day, and still no results.
So I guess, did a friend introduce you to the Hotze Health and Wellness Center? Or did you happen to find us online?
I actually listened to you on the radio.
I
heard about it on the radio, your radio program.
Well, that's right. I used to have a radio program on a daily basis for 15 years, 12 to 1 o'clock, Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution. So that was, and of course, we've had thousands of guests that have come to us based on that program where we discussed health issues like the health issues you had. So you heard about us. You decided to come in. Tell me what the experience was like when you came here, as far as the staff, as far as the ambiance here at our practice. Did you notice anything different here that you hadn't seen at other physicians' offices?
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, for one thing, it's so luxurious, and everyone, from the front desk to the nursing staff to whoever walks you back to the room, they just treat you like you matter to them. And usually you have to, at a regular doctor's office, you have to wait for, 30, 40, even an hour to be seen, even though you have an appointment time, and everything was right on schedule. I was walked back to check out, even down to the snacks that you get after your blood work is complete. Everything was just beautiful.
Well, we have a philosophy here that the way we treat our guests, and we call our patients guests here, we decided, Wende, years ago, back in 1996, to get out of the business of practicing medicine, and we decided we would be in the hospitality industry. And within that context, we would provide medical care. So we benchmark with the Ritz-Carlton and we benchmark with the Broadmoor in Colorado. And as a matter of fact, our people train. We send our leaders to train there at the headquarters of the Ritz-Carlton, which is outside of Atlanta. And also we send them to the Broadmoor. We have their people come in to help train us. And we just really feel that the way we treat people is so important, because everyone, when they come in, they want to know that someone listens to them, is concerned about them, and has a plan that can help them get on a path of health and wellness naturally without pharmaceutical drugs. So as you mature, you have energy, you've got vitality, and you've got enthusiasm for life. That's what we want to communicate. And we want, and obviously we did this in you. We want to enable you to have hope that you can get better. And a lot of times, we hear from our guests that come in here that have tried the conventional doctors. The doctors make them think that their problems are all in their head. They want to give them antidepressants, or psychiatric drugs, or any anxiety medication, sleep medication. They just load them down with medication, and they never feel well, and they feel like the doctor hasn't listened to them. And so that's the most important thing I think that we provide, is that we cultivate in you and in every one of our guests hope that things can change, they can get better. So do you remember who you saw here, which physician?
Yes, I saw Debbie Janik.
Good. Debbie is one of our nurse practitioners. She's lovely. That's who she takes care of my bride. So she's wonderful. So when you saw Debbie recommended that based upon your clinical symptoms, one, to switch your levothyroxine, which is Synthroid, your synthetic thyroid, to natural thyroid hormones. The synthetic thyroid hormone, Synthroid, only contains T4. There are two types of thyroid hormones. There's T4 and there's T3. Our body makes about 94%, our thyroid gland in the neck makes about 94% of T4. That's an inactive thyroid hormone. The active thyroid hormone is T3. T4 means it has 4 iodine atoms attached to it, to the thyroid hormone. T3 has 3 iodine atoms attached. So when you make thyroid hormone, it circulates in the blood, and you can have plenty of thyroid in your blood, T4, but it's inactive. It has to be assimilated into the cell, and there an enzyme cleaves off one of the iodine atoms and gives you T3. That's the active thyroid hormone. So when your physician gave you Synthroid, and we've seen this in thousands of people that have taken the synthetic thyroid, they come in and they go like, I still have all my symptoms of low thyroid, but my doctor says my blood tests are normal now. And they will not treat you with synthetic thyroid unless your blood tests are abnormal. So I'm sure when you talk to your doctor, he said, well, your blood tests are normal. It can't be your thyroid. That's not the reason you're gaining weight. And they didn't adjust your thyroid at that point and told you, just exercise harder and eat less and you'll do fine. So that's when you decided to come over, and we switched you to Desiccated Natural Thyroid, which contains both T3 and T4, both hormones. And that jumpstarts your cells, so your cells begin to convert the inactive thyroid hormone to the active thyroid hormone. So how did you do when could you tell a difference when you switched from your synthetic thyroid, Synthroid, to your natural thyroid?
Oh, yes, 100%. I was just tossing it up to old age that this is why I was feeling like this. And I was going to just feel like this from now on. And I felt completely different. I felt like I was 20 years younger. It was easier to do the workouts. I could maintain my work day. Sometimes it's a 12-hour work day, and I could maintain that without dragging and just falling into bed at the end of the day.
And how long did it take you to notice a difference once you got up on the natural thyroid?
It probably took, I would say I started to notice the difference in at least 2 weeks, full on definite, after about a month.
Well, that's great. I always try to underpromise, overdeliver, and tell people they're going to have gradual and steady improvement over the first 3 months. And a lot of it really depends upon, are they on a bunch of additional medications? Now, were you on anything else, prescribed medications beside the synthetic thyroid?
Yes, I was actually on birth control at the time.
Okay. And birth control pills obviously shut down your own natural hormones, and that can have an adverse effect on your thyroid hormone as well and your ability to utilize thyroid hormone. So you probably stopped your birth control pills there, I would presume.
Yes, we did. And then Debbie had put me on progesterone.
Yeah. So now, what year were you born?
1970.
Okay, 1970. So you came in when you would have been how old? 43?
43, yes.
Yeah, right. So so we took you off the birth control pills, put you on natural progesterone. How did your cycles do at that time?
My cycles were almost non-existent on the birth control, and they got to be more regular, but they didn't last very long, which I was very happy with.
Oh, sure. So then you went through the change, and
Yes.
and then Debbie, you started to have some symptoms of menopause with the hot flashes and those sort of things. And
Yes.
she put you on some natural female estrogen hormone to balance
Cream,
out.
yes.
And so how did
Yes, but I will have to say that the symptoms of menopause have not been that bad. It may be an occasional hot flash, no night sweats. It really hasn't been that bad. And I attribute that to everything that we do with Debbie, that the regimen she's got me on throughout the whole entire time. When I started to go through menopause, that we kind of, I want to say we kind of got ahead of it, and we're
Right.
able to anticipate what was going to happen.
Well, that's what we do with our ladies as they march through their menstrual life. We know eventually they're going to bump up against menopause, and we can preempt that, get them started on some natural estrogen, so as their hormone decline and end up stopping, that we can maintain a hormone level that helps them feel youthful and young, and they're not plagued with the problems that occur at menopause. So, and also, I know that Debbie recommended to you a vitamin and mineral program to help detox and to help keep your levels of energy production up. By the way, the whole goal of our program is to make sure that the cells within your body produce adequate amount, in fact, a healthy amount of energy. Every one of your cells, Wende and folks, have power plants within them that produce energy. They're called the mitochondria, if you think back to your biology. And they produce a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, which carries an electronic charge. And that electron then is passed to all the biochemical processes and enables your cells to work and to run. You've got to have electricity in your body to run. And what happens is you age, as your hormone levels become imbalanced and they decline, that adversely affects your cell's ability to produce and use energy. And so one of the main goals in our program is to keep your energy production up as you mature, so you have energy, vitality, and enthusiasm for life. And that's what the thyroid hormone does. It's like a spark plug, and it ignites the energy production within your cells. Of course, the energy has to come from the nutrients you eat, so it's important to have a good eating plan. But then the thyroid hormone catalyzes the energy production, and both the estrogen and progesterone play a role in that as well. And then the vitamins and minerals play a role in that. So we want to make sure your energy production is good. And if your energy production is good, guess what? The brain works well, the heart runs well, liver runs well, all the organs of your body work well, and you feel well. And that's what you experienced. And that's why we put you on that. And then you were on some kind of exercise program. And then I know recently, here in the last, say, 6 months or so, you decided to get more serious about your weight. Tell us what happened about your weight program.
Yes, well, I'd taken on a new job where it required me to travel very often. I'm out of town every other week. I cover 7 states as a brand sales manager.
Wow.
Yeah, and so during those travels, I wasn't really watching what I was eating, and I let the weight creep back up on me again. And recently, last May, I decided I needed to do something about it because all of my work clothes no longer fit, and I didn't want to go buy new clothes. So I wanted to get back into what I had. So I started back on the yeast-free program. And being older after menopause, it wasn't coming off as quickly as I'd like. And when I came in for my appointment in September, I did see some literature and about the Slim Down Kit, and I had asked Debbie about it and decided to give it a try. And immediately, well, I would say immediately, but since September, I've dropped 35 pounds and still on it. And I'm still being very faithful to the program as well as to the yeast-free diet again.
Well, as you realize, the yeast-free program is a keto-friendly program. It's a program where you basically cut out the simple carbohydrates, and that would be your wheat products, your corn products, your potato and rice products, all of which are simple carbs. And simple carbohydrates are simply sugar molecules that are hooked together. And whenever you eat those products, immediately, starting when you put them in your mouth, you have enzymes, even in the saliva, that begins to break down those molecules that are hooked together, the carbohydrates, the sugar molecules, and it begins to break down and converts it to sugar. And of course, then that causes the pancreas to produce high levels of insulin, trying to get rid of the sugar, and you get insulin resistance, and then high levels of insulin convert the sugar into fat, and you gain weight. So a high carbohydrate diet is really the bane of many individuals that have difficulty with their weight. So I like to say, even if you're taking your thyroid hormone and you've got adequate levels of thyroid hormone, you have your female hormones balanced out, or in case of men, you have good levels of your testosterone, you're taking your vitamins and minerals. If you're not eating right, you're still not going to lose weight, and you can gain weight, which you did. And so then you made a second decision to take charge of your health, and you went on the Slim Down program, which we have here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, and that made a difference. So congratulations on taking charge of your health again and losing that weight. I think that's wonderful, and I'm sure. Now, ladies, one thing I hear commonly when individuals begin to lose weight, oftentimes their friends, who may tend to be a little overweight themselves, go like, "Okay, Wendy, you've lost plenty. You don't need to lose any more weight. You look really good right now." Have you heard that?
So, yes, once.
Well, it happens because you make them feel a little bit guilty about the weight. That's what happens. So don't heed to what they say about don't lose any more weight. You're just going to look like just a rail. You can't look that way. You've got to keep that meat on your bones. So, but anyway, it's a good example that you're setting, and it's and I like to say this: one of the most important things you can do to promote good health is maintain an ideal body weight. Get down to your ideal body weight. So you're on the way, and you have a ways to go yet. You're halfway there, I would say. But get yourself down to your ideal body weight, and you can imagine, think about it. You've lost 35 pounds. Why don't you take a 35 5-pound bag of flour and stick it on your back, tie it around your waist, and see how long you could last during the day. It'd be difficult, wouldn't it, if you put that on your shoulder all day long?
Oh, absolutely. And I was having hip problems. My hips hurt, my knees hurt, my ankles hurt. I could no longer wear high heels anymore for my job with the weight. And now I'm back in heels, and I don't have any of the hip pain or the knee pain.
Well, a lot of times people have, in more and more, we have tons of people in America get knee replacements and hip replacements, but 70% of the population is overweight. Half of the people that are overweight, that's 35% of the population, are obese. And God did not mean us to carry around that much weight. It wears our joints out. It just does. So if you want to prevent, and I'm talking to all our listeners, if you want to prevent hip disorders and disorders with your knee and arthritis and just a complete breakdown of your degenerative arthritis in your hips and knees, where you would need a hip transplant or a knee transplant, get down to an ideal body weight. Eat healthy. And the way we do it here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center is we cut the carbs, and we also recommend intermittent fasting. Have you tried that yet, Wende?
I have tried intermittent fasting. In fact, Debbie had recommended, I was trying it in the morning and not eating until afternoon, and that was not working for me. I was lightheaded. I needed to take my vitamins in the morning, and so Debbie suggested that I don't eat after 6 o'clock at night and do it that way, the opposite, and that's worked beautifully for me.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, Wende, this is a great story, and I again congratulate you for taking charge of your health, and thank you for sharing your story with our audience today. I look forward to seeing you again next time you come in. Be sure to tell Becky at the front desk to knock on my door so I can greet you warmly. Thank you for joining.
Okay, I absolutely will.
Thank you so much, Wende, and thank each one of you for joining us. If you'd like to know more information about how you can get on a path of health and wellness, then please feel free to give us a call here at the Hotze Health and Wellness Center, and the phone number's on the screen. Thanks so much for joining us.
At Physicians Preference Pharmacy, we understand that the quality of your compounded medications directly affects the way you feel, which is why we believe that your pharmacy should specialize in compounding medications while also delivering extraordinary hospitality and guest service. We believe that both patients and prescribers should accept nothing less than consistency and quality from their compounding pharmacy. This is why we've implemented some of the strictest quality standards in compounding, exceeding standard requirements, achieving PCAB accreditation, which is the Pharmacy Compounding Accreditation Board, an organization that sets the highest standards in compounding pharmacy regarding the safety, cleanliness, and quality of your compounded prescriptions. Because of our commitment to complete health and wellness, we are dedicated to making your medications free of lactose, parabens, artificial sweeteners, and any unnecessary dyes, binders, or fillers present in many other medications, offering you the cleanest products possible.
Information provided on this program is neither intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice and is not intended to replace the services of a physician, nor does it constitute a doctor-patient relationship. You should not use information from this radio program to diagnose or treat a health problem or disease without consulting with a qualified healthcare provider. If you have or suspect you have an urgent medical problem, promptly contact a professional healthcare provider or call 911. Dr. Hotze's Wellness Revolution advises you to always seek the advice of a physician or other qualified health provider prior to starting any new treatment or with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Any application of the recommendations from this program is at the listener's discretion.